Hello, and welcome back to the Parent Cafe podcast. I am Allie.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are joined today by Shauna from Sleepy Mountain Consulting.
Woo!
Shauna, hello. Thank you for
Hi,
being
guys.
here.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
No
I
problem.
really appreciate you guys inviting me to come in.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, like you said, my name's Shauna. I am a mom. I'm an ultrasound tech. I live in Hinton, Alberta. And I started Sleepy Mountain Consulting in the spring of this year. I took my infant sleep consulting course through QC Career Schools. They're an Alberta or a Canadian company. And I started the course because of COVID. My daughter was sleeping really well, and I was getting really overly stimulated by the media and by not being able to see my family and friends. So I just needed to pour my energy into something, and I just wanted to learn about sleep a little bit better. I never thought that I would make a business out of it. I just wanted a little bit extra information that I could help my friends and my family and my dog. So then I decided that I would just make a little business out of it because I really enjoyed it. I loved the course. I found it so interesting, and all my girlfriends are having babies, and I just thought that I would kind of go with it. And I started slowly over the summer. It's a little bit hard with COVID and not being able to meet families in person and meet their babies and go into their homes and see the nursery, but it's worked okay. And now I'm back at my part-time job at the with Alberta Health Services, and so it's a fun balance. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, we sleep trained my daughter, and it worked out really well for us. She learned some really cool sleep habits and independent sleep, and I just wanted to learn a little bit more about the history and the business aspect of it, and I find it really interesting, and it's fun to talk about, and yeah, just kind of went from there.
Yeah. So we have some questions for you. Are you ready? All right. We'll just get right into it.
The exam starts now. No.
Yep. Got your papers ready. Number 2 pencil. Just kidding. All right. So like I've had lots of struggles with my daughter sleeping. And then I've heard lots of different things on the web and stuff. So it's kind of great that you're here to kind of explain things a little bit better. And I know what parents at home would be really appreciative of it too, because there's so much information out there. So just some clarity and would be really great. One thing we hear about a lot is sleep aids. So what are your thoughts on like sound machines, soothers, bottles, like loveys? Like how do you introduce them, take them away, all that fun stuff?
So I find the term like sleep aid or sleep prop can be negatively associated, which a lot of aids and props and like things like soothers aren't negative. You can use things like sleep sacks or books or a bath as sleep cues. So to let your children know that, hey, it's bedtime. We're going to start wrapping up playtime and dinner time, and we're going to move into sleep time. And so things like sleep sacks, white noise machines are amazing. If they're used properly, they're wonderful. You want the noise to be playing throughout the duration of the nap or the sleep. That abrupt like stop, if it's on a timer or on batteries, and if it stops in the middle of a sleep cycle, can disrupt sleep for sure. But white noise machines are great. Soothers are also great. Soothers are actually, they've been proven to decrease the chance of SIDS. So I know that everyone has this fear that they're going to have this toddler running around with a soother, and there's some negative associations with it. But as an infant, as a sleep aid, it's actually wonderful, and it's heavily promoted by a lot of sleep consultants. Now, it is difficult to often get your child to transition to not using a soother. One really cool way I've seen around Christmas time, if you have, say, an 18-month-old or a 2-year-old that you want to transition out of using a soother, I had a really close friend that mailed, in quotation, the soothers to Santa. So it was like in exchange for Christmas gifts, your soother is going to go to Santa in this padded envelope. We're going to put it in the mail together. And it was a bit of a transition. Like, where's my soother? I want it back. I don't care about gifts from Santa, but it actually worked really well for this family. So kind of in a way it's a bribe, but in a way it's like teaching your child, well, you know what? You're going to trade this soother and Santa's going to bring some gifts and everything's going to be fine. So there's always going to be transitions with taking away something like a soother, but it's manageable. I feel like if you do it in a way like that, like the Easter Bunny's going to come take the soothers, or there's so many different ways you can do it. But as far as loveys go, like that would be more of a blanket or a bunny, or a bear. So Health Canada recommends an empty crib or bassinet until 1 year of age. So we always try to push, like, don't introduce anything like that until a year of age. A lot of kids will grasp onto things later on, like after a year, and that's totally fine. Like at that point they can roll over, they can pull things away from their face, they're not always putting things in their mouth, like you can kind of rationalize with them. So after a year of age is when Health Canada recommends introducing pillows or blankies or bunnies. So before that, an empty crib is usually the safest place.
What about, like, I struggle now with bottles. Like, she's not on a bottle, like she just takes a sippy cup of milk to bed.
Right. Yeah.
And how do I get out of that? Because, like, that's her sleep. Like, it's either me or that. Like, she doesn't have a lovey. She's never taken a soother, never took bottles. So, yeah.
And that's a tough one too. They kind of get this dependence on it and they start to then associate it with sleep. What you can do is you can time it, and it's going to take time, and it might be a little bit of a struggle, but it'll be gradual. So say for the first night, okay, she gets her bottle in bed. The second night she gets 4 minutes with it, and then 3.5 minutes. And so you're gradually taking it away. So you're not going to get that. I mean, if she's at the age where she's going to be throwing some tantrums or quite upset, you're not going to get that maybe big tantrum where she's not going to sleep and then she's overtired and then it's just this vicious cycle. So we kind of phase out the use of these things. So yeah, one nap can be 5 minutes. She gets it, and then 4, and then you can kind of fade your way down to, okay, you get it for a minute and then it's over, and then it's more of a gradual transition for them, and not this like mind-blowing taking it away, screaming
cold turkey
match.
Very cool.
I mean, it's up to you. You can do it cold turkey, but it's a battle.
And she's like super strong and independent, and she will tell me. So
yeah
tell you off.
She will.
Fading that kind of habit out can be a really good way to get rid of it completely if you want.
I like just a few minutes at a time. Very helpful.
I see you writing notes. So.
I am. I need this. I think I have like a part 2 to that question. It's like, how do you feel about like feeding to sleep? Like for new parents, like this is probably where for me, like where that milk bottle came in to go to bed is like I fed her to go to sleep. So how do you feel?
So once your child is about 4 to 6 months, their sleep starts to mature. So they start to associate things with sleep. They're way more aware of their surroundings. And so kind of the one recommendation that most sleep consultants will make when you start to, get them in their own crib or move them out of your room or kind of advance things a little bit is you want to put them down, ready for bed, sleepy, end of their awake cycle, but you want them to be awake. So my professional opinion on feeding to sleep would be to try not to. Once your child gets a little bit older, I mean, when they're a newborn, that's not something that you're worried about. You're worried about feeding them, gaining weight, dirty diapers. You're worried about just like having them thrive. But then once you kind of get used to each other and into the 3, 4, 5 month, it's something that you really want to try is put them down to sleep awake. And that it feels wrong at first. At least it did for me. It was like, well, why wouldn't I put her down in her crib sleeping and then she can just continue to sleep? But if you do that and then they startle themselves awake, or then they wake up and they're in this whole other atmosphere and they can't get used to their surroundings and take it all in. And that's part of learning how to sleep independently, is looking around and, okay, I'm okay in this surrounding and I can teach myself to sleep. If you continuously put them down sleeping or almost sleeping, that startle reflex will get them, and then it's that much harder for them to teach themselves to go back down.
Wow. And that actually like makes so much sense because so many parents out there, like you take your kid for a drive, they're in the car seat, they fall asleep,
Yep.
and you're like, okay, shh, like gotta
Yeah,
put it
it's
in
like
their
a
bed.
time bomb.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
they startle awake and you're like, no, starting
Yeah.
over.
And then
In
they
the
don't go back to
long
sleep.
run,
Right.
yeah, like
Right.
in the long run where they graduate out of that 6 months, 7, 8, out of infancy into being a toddler, being put down or being put into bed awake and then learning to teach themselves how to sleep is just an amazing thing for them. It's not a milestone per se, but it's incredible because then no matter where they are, they can teach themselves how to sleep. And then if they easier on vacation, if we ever get to go on vacation ever again, at parents' house, daycares, it just is so much easier on everybody if your child can independently sleep.
I have a question. When and how do you transition to a toddler bed?
This is something that I haven't experienced yet in my personal life. I have a almost 15-month-old, so we're kind of getting to that point in the new year. But literature kind of says that anywhere from 18 to 24 months, you can start that transition, or when your child starts to climb out of the crib or can climb out of the crib, becomes pretty hazardous to have a kid that can climb out. And I've seen videos of kids as young as like 11 months that are agile and like these little gymnasts that are popping out of the crib. So literature says around that time when you feel like you can't keep your child in the crib anymore, that's the right time to start the transition into either a bed without a rail or a toddler bed with a railing. There's a lot of variations of that.
How do you transition them into a bed? I'm
So
working. I'm gonna get there soon. So
yeah, you want to have a really good routine established by this point. So you want to have your bath time, if you can bath every day, your book time or light playing, story time. So you want to keep every single aspect of their evening and day before naps the same, so that you're not changing a whole bunch of things. So I would never try to switch to a toddler bed while potty training or while taking the sucky away. So you want it to be really consistent with your routine and everything else you do. And so some parents, I was just reading some like real parent reviews of what they've done. And it seems like putting the mattress on the floor is one of the better ways to transition. Then you're not having that worry of like that flail off to the side and then your child is falling out of the bed and then waking themselves up and then they're not going back to sleep for hours.
Right.
And another thing that a lot of parents are saying is that if you let your child pick out like the sheets and the pillows and maybe the type of bed or some stickers on the bed, it gets to be more of like a, hey, you can do this. Why don't you go sleep in your hockey sheets or your Batman sheets?
Yeah.
And so it gets to be more fun. Yeah, it gets to be more of this like, hey, I get to sleep in my big boy bed and I get hockey sheets. Rather than like, okay, you're going to do this and you're going to sleep and you're not going to get up all night. So I think if you have a really good routine already and you make it kind of fun and, hey, you got Batman sheets from Santa, why don't we change your bed around? And if you feel like they're really ready to get out of the crib, I feel like it'll go okay. But if you jump the gun, it's always okay to go back into the crib. It's not going to be detrimental to your child if you just maybe don't feel like they're ready, if they're scared from having, they go from 4 crib walls around them to nothing. It's always okay to go back for a month, and they change so much in a month that even 4 weeks, you can start again and try again with adding it to your routine.
I guess kind of along that then, like, what do you think of like the Montessori school of thought? Because I like looked into that. I learned about it in school. And I think it's like as early as 3 or 4 months, they're putting babies like on a mattress at floor level. And then they have like a little soft like rug beneath them in case they would roll off, or they put like a bit of a hump at the edge. Like, what do you think of that? Because then there's no transition essentially.
Right. And so, yeah, you're getting rid of that transition. But again, in my opinion, and my opinion is definitely not the end all be all. I'm a first time mom, just like other people listening, and I'm a fairly new sleep consultant, but I have to kind of go with what Health Canada recommends. And Health Canada recommends that an empty bassinet with a fitted sheet and a firm mattress or a crib is going to always be the safest place for your infant. And if you look at it in a way where you're always trying to avoid that overtiredness, right? You're always trying to avoid that fight in the middle of the night where your baby is so overtired and they can't sleep and you haven't slept for 4 days and you have to go back to work. You're always trying to avoid overtiredness. So I feel that if your child is, sleeping on a mattress on the floor, it's probably fairly safe. They don't have like a big fall if they do roll off. But if your child wakes up in the middle of the night and can crawl, and there's all these distractions in a room, because you're rarely going to put them on a mattress in an empty room. It's not, it's just not going to happen. So there's all these distractions like dresser knobs and like baskets, say, or carpets. They're so easily distracted that I just don't feel like it's going to give them adequate sleep that they need if they're crawling around the room in the middle of the night. And sure, like you might have your monitor, you might be laying awake in the middle of the night watching the monitor, but it's just not, it doesn't seem like it's conducive to really, really restful sleep.
Well, and it makes sense because I know too, what they also recommend is like mirrors, and they would put like a mirror at that same height of like the mattress. And then if they wake up in the middle of the night, they can distract themselves and like look in the mirror. But it's exactly what you're saying. So it's like, okay, so they have this like piece of exploration. Sure. Like I'm sure that that's good for other things. And I'm sure if they wake up like at nap time during the day, they can distract themselves with a mirror. That's probably fine. But like you were saying, at 3 a.m., like to be laying there distracted by the mirror, like it's probably not the best night's sleep.
Yeah, and this is something that I didn't really look into and I didn't think about doing with my daughter. We don't learn a lot about it in our sleep consulting course. So I would love to hear from a family that it's worked for.
Yeah, we'll have to find one. I know some people that kind of like half do Montessori. I know like going all in is pretty difficult because it's a very simple approach. And people love some aspects of it, but then they still love the colorful, shiny toys and all the like beautiful things you can have in a bedroom. And that's the opposite of what the school of practice is. But I think like it would be interesting to hear from someone that's actually like wholeheartedly dove into that.
I would love to hear that and how it went and how they did it. Because I'm sure it may become more popular if you're really like dreading that change from a crib into the bed. Then I guess it's a way at the beginning to kind of do it slowly, but it just doesn't seem super conducive to everybody being safe, as safe as possible. And
no, that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Another one's kind of similar, but co-sleeping. What are your thoughts and how, like, if people are going to do it, how would they do it safely? Like, because I know it's a pretty controversial topic, but
and I've talked to some families who, with their first child, they're just so overwhelmed in the middle of the night, or a flu gets the whole family, and it just kind of happens. They don't plan on bed sharing. When you say co-sleeping, I think of sharing the same room. That's kind of the terminology that we use. So you have the bassinet in the corner, but I think what you're talking about is bed sharing, right?
Yes.
You're actually in the bed.
In the bed with baby.
And some people choose to do that. Yeah, some people choose to do that. I definitely recommend not doing that. Again, Health Canada recommends that the safest place is in a separate bassinet or crib. That being said, if you have to, or if you want to, there's a few things that you can do to make it as safe as possible. So a firm mattress. I would recommend a firm mattress and not like a pillow top or like one of those mattress toppers you can get from Costco, or definitely none of those. It's really heavily recommended not to do it with preterm children, or any children with real health concerns that you would worry about having trouble breathing during the night. One parent only is the safest way to co-sleep or to bed share. You just get more than one parent in there, and unless you're in a king bed, it can get quite tight. And I don't know if I thrash around at night. My husband doesn't, but one parent is what they recommend, and no big comforters or pillows. So one pillow, something to keep the parent warm. So not a bunch of blankets and a bunch of pillows. No animals. We sleep with our pets, but my daughter doesn't sleep with us. So
Right.
I just, as minimal as possible, if it's something that you have to do, you can be safe. And again, like no drugs, alcohol, sleep aids for the parent.
Yeah.
You have to try to be as awake as possible if it's something that you have to do with your child.
Well, and as awake as possible. Like I can't even, I'm hyper aware all the time.
Yeah.
So like if there was an infant in my bed, I wouldn't sleep. It'd be like, I can't move. Like I
know.
You roll over onto it.
It works for some people. You kind of hear that the child sleeps okay, but the parents don't. But I have talked to people that it does work for, and with breastfeeding and that initial like, holy smokes, I have a newborn, I'm up all the time going into their room, or I'm getting them out of the bassinet, and I had a C-section. I can't be lifting all the time if my husband's away working. Some people it just really works for. And if you can do it, it's not recommended, but if you can do it as safely as possible.
Yeah. So I did co-sleeping or bed sharing just because like for me that it was just easier that way.
Right.
But yeah, we did research and to see how like we could do it as safely as possible. So like we tried our best, but yeah, it is hard. I did not sleep like very well at all. She slept great, but like she like flinches or breathes and you're like suddenly awake. So I totally get that part, but you have to research for sure how to do it safely if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Are night terrors a normal thing for young children, and what causes them? Do you know much about like night terrors? Is that like a common occurrence in little ones?
You know, like a real true night terror is a lot different than a bad dream. Like a night terror, the children often stay asleep. And they can wake up screaming and sweating and thrashing, but they're still asleep. So an actual true night terror can be passed down in your family. If, say, your husband or yourself or the grandparents had night terrors, that can get passed down. Versus a bad dream, which is like they watched a weird cartoon and their imaginations just run rampant as they become infants. To have a bad dream, they often startle themselves awake. They're awake, they need some soothing. So if you feel like your child is having a bad dream versus a night terror, definitely offer some consoling. If you feel like they're awake, you see them on the monitor or you hear them, go in. If they're just having a bad dream, tell them that you're there if you can rationalize with them at all. As far as an actual night terror, they're not that common in children, and you really don't want to wake them up. So how we were taught is if you feel like your child is having a night terror, if you can recognize it as a night terror, they're sweating, they're freaking out in their crib or bed, they're up, they're standing, they're crawling around, the best thing to do is kind of to let it run its course. If it's a true night terror, as long as they're safe, you don't want to wake them up because that can startle them even more and then have them remember it. Most children don't remember night terrors. They'll wake up in the morning, maybe not as rested, but they won't have this like long-term effect from a night terror, and they are quite rare. It is said that if you feel like your child is having consistent night terrors, like one a week, one a month, even a couple a year, that you should talk to your family physician. Because a true night terror can be very scary for parents. And you want to make sure they're safe. So if you feel like your child is having consistent night terrors versus bad dreams, speaking to your doctor is very important.
Okay. That's similar to like not waking up even an adult that's like sleepwalking kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And sleepwalking and night terrors can kind of run together. Like if you have a husband that walks around sleeping, your child can actually be prone to that versus having a bad dream because they watch like a cartoon or, Yeah. So, I mean, if they're having nightmares, offer some consoling, verbally through the door. If you have to go in and say, hey, it's okay, you're going to be okay. But a night terror is a little bit different and quite a bit less common.
Yeah. I think we have a final question, and this one I think is asked a lot, so I'm sure you'll know the answer. What is the ideal bedtime for around like each age group? Like, is earlier better, later?
I go to bed at 9.
I go to bed at 11.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a lot different. I mean, it's hard to tell every single household 7:00 needs to be bedtime.
Right.
Some dads or moms don't get home from work till 6:45.
Mhm.
So it's hard. You don't see your kid then if you're working 12-hour days, if you're in healthcare or out in oil and gas. So that's a struggle for a lot of parents. If dad works out of the home, they're gone in the morning, they're not seeing their kids if you're putting them to bed at 7.
Mhm.
What we recommend with sleep training is really trying to get to that 7 to 7 schedule. So even infants and babies need a regular wake up time to regulate their biological clocks. So if you're going to choose 8, you want it to be 8 a.m. every morning. You don't want them to sleeping till 10, throwing their routine off, and then your evening is going to completely fall apart as well. So it's hard to say what exact time is best. Around 7:38 is what we recommend, as long as they're getting the adequate sleep they need through the night. So if you're putting them down at 8 but have to drop them off at the day home at 6:30, that's often not enough sleep for an infant or a child in late infancy to get during the night. So you will have to be really aware of their wake times as well. If their last nap, say they wake up at 4:30, but you're not putting them down until 8 and they're only 7 months old, that's too long of an awake time. So it's hard to say this is the time that needs to be every night. Sometimes it has to be 6:30, sometimes it can be 7:15, as long as that last awake time is preserved. And that is all dependent on age.
Okay. So it's like on a 12-hour kind of like 7 to 7, 8 to 8 would be like ideal.
Yeah, just so they're getting the adequate rest through the night. And then it also depends on their day sleep. If they had a great 2 naps during the day, you're not going to want to extend their bedtime just because they slept really well during the day, because night depends on day and day depends on night. Right. So you want to kind of aim for consistency being best. If you choose 7, you want to stick with 7. You can start your routine about 90 minutes before that. And you want to shoot for the same time every single night. I know things get in the way, like other caregivers or teething or illness, but if you have a really good, consistent routine, your bedtime will be a similar time each night, as should your wake up in the morning.
And I think that's similar to adults too, right?
Totally.
It's similar to me for sure. Like 6 p.m. I start going to bed.
Draw yourself
winding down. Awake at 6 a.m. Yeah.
I mean, that routine is just the best thing you can do for your child. You can start it from the day you come home from the hospital. A little song when it's time to go down, a sleep sack, white noise. You can start right from the beginning with a routine. I created a 0 to 3 month sleep aid that I find it kind of goes through that. And I was hoping to get it out to as many new moms as I can. It's like a really good gift for a baby shower, or like, cool. Here, you're still in the hospital, here's this document. Yes. You should read it. Right?
You work at the hospital, you should do that.
Yeah, I should just like slip it under their doors.
Slip it in, yeah.
Yeah, because I created it and I'm happy to give it to whomever or however to get it out for free. It's just a good reminder that a routine is just like a wonderful addition to your day.
Well, and it makes total sense. Like, if the first thing you thought of getting home from the hospital was, okay, how can I make it easier for my baby, but also myself? Like, to have a routine down would probably alleviate so much stress, like moving through those first few months.
Later on, yeah. And
Just
anyone can follow your routine, right? Like if we ever get back to the point where people can come to your home and help you with your baby, it's great. You can put it on the fridge. Like, this is what we do. This is how they sleep. This is our day. And it's just little things that really help.
No, that's all awesome. That's cool.
Yes.
Well, that's all of our questions. And that was awesome, because I feel way smarter.
Yes.
From when I started this, I'm like, I'm a sleep genius. I'm a professional sleeper.
Well, you can come to my house and help me out now. Well, can't really come over, but still.
No, I can't come over.
She can stand on your porch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can peer through the windows.
Yeah. Abby, get to bed.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Shauna.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
we will definitely include all of your links that I have with our podcast, and then people can check you out and get some help with their sleep and children's sleep.
Yes, children's sleep. I can't help you as an adult. Well, I can help you sleep if your baby's sleeping.
Yeah.
That's
what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. You guys have a great day. That was really fun.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, talk to you soon.
That was really great.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, have you seen or listened to a sleep consultant before?
No, never. No. That was my first like real deal. This is the ins and outs of sleep. I honestly, I'm sort of surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised about the Montessori.
Yeah.
Because if you honestly, like what she had mentioned makes complete sense, because if a child's waking up on a mattress floor level, rolling off in the middle of the night, they're going to play with something. And not everybody doing Montessori is sticking to everything that Montessori is about. So when I think of Montessori, I'm like, the room is completely empty. Like the mattress is on the floor. You have like a sheet on the mattress.
And
There's a soft blanket, or not blanket, a rug to like fall over onto if they roll off the bed. And then usually you just have like low to the ground furniture and like the few very simple toys that they would play with, right? And so I think like the idea of Montessori is very attractive to people because it's minimalist. It's what's trending. Like the idea of like, oh, just this minimalism, not needing to have all this stuff for my baby. Obviously, like that would also be a lot cheaper to not have to go through a bassinet, a crib, a toddler bed. Like if you just went straight from maybe just a bassinet that's like a basket carrier for like the first few months.
You can do
boxes. People have done that. Drawers, like I've seen people do. And then right onto a twin size mattress that they're gonna have until they move out
forever.
Of the house. Like, you know, so I mean, it makes total sense in how attractive it is, but as long as people follow it to the T, it's not going to have the outcome.
Which is hard.
Exactly.
Totally hard. Yeah.
So I get that. And I never really thought of that. Like that never crossed my mind. Like, oh, they're going to wake up and be distracted. Because I was more just thinking like, oh, they're safe if they roll off or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't even occur to me about the distractions.
Yeah, because I remember when Abby was little, like she would wake up, she'd crawl around her bed and stuff like she still does that. She'll like wake up in the middle of the night. Like last night, she's like, "Hi, like let's play," and it's like it's 2 a.m, so no, let's go to bed. But like she still does that, so I can definitely see the distraction, especially like when they are young and they're learning those new skills, like of crawling around, because they want to practice those skills. So if they wake up in the middle of the night, they're going to practice crawling around, which then they'll lose out on sleep. So yeah, totally get that.
I still feel like I would give it a go.
Yeah.
But yes, but only because I think it's just the idea of like not having to have any stuff. That's like super attractive to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm not I just don't like colorful things to begin with. It like drives me bonkers. Any like toys that light up, I'm just like, throw it out. Like like even as a kid, I was just not interested in that. Like I had my ponies. I had like maybe 3 or 4 little horse toys. And maybe that just comes from not having lots of money. Like we just didn't have stuff. So
I come from basics. Yeah.
My basics. And it's like, you know, and I liked it and I got to play outside a lot. And nature play was like huge for us. So we were tired and then just went to bed and we didn't have distractions.
But... Yeah, because you're tired.
So we did have some stories.
Oh, yes. Yes, we did.
But before we dive into that, I did want to share, and I'll just show my phone screen so that everyone watching, and then I'll read it, obviously. So if you're listening, you know what I'm showing. But we got a message on Instagram of a lifesaver for sleep. So it is The Little Elephant Who Wants to Fall Asleep, and it's an audiobook. Apparently it's been a lifesaver for some people. This is what it looks like.
The little elephant who wants to sleep. Okay.
So that was sent to me. This is an hour and 17 minutes, chapter 1. So I think that I'm assuming it's getting children to bed, like
To
kind
go
of
to
like a
sleep.
meditation.
I might have to download that.
But like Shauna mentioned, I don't know if it ends abruptly.
Yeah.
Because
But maybe I'm thinking like bedtime routine. Like when it ends, it's bedtime.
Yeah. So maybe you're awake, you started at 6.
Yeah.
You know, like if your bedtime's 7, you start the chapter at 6, your kid's fallen asleep, maybe you're sitting there with them. But yeah, so apparently that's a good one. But
I'll have to try it out.
Yeah, try it out. Let me know.
I'm just thinking back to Shauna. Is that 7 to 7? I'm struggling with like she'll wake up at 6 some days, she'll wake up at 7 some days. So like it depends. So like every day I'm almost like pivoting.
Yeah, changing what you're doing.
Yeah. So
I know that like I've heard parents say that they like leave their child, they like don't give them the attention, I guess. So like if they want them awake at 7 and the kid is at their door at 6, it's like, please go back to bed. Like it doesn't, but I know that's so hard. Like
it's hard when you work too, right?
Yeah.
So and then I'm like, well, do you know what? I should be up at this time to get ready for work.
I guess. It's like, you're now my alarm clock.
Yeah. So then I usually will adjust and like she will usually go for her nap earlier and then I'll put her to bed earlier. So it's been working, but I think we still have work to do. So I'm also at the point where I'm going to try to switch her bed over because maybe that will just give her that independence she always is looking for.
And is she in a small bed now?
She's in a crib still.
Oh, okay.
And she's 2. So I'm just at that. She doesn't try to climb out of it. So I'm like, I know you're safe in there and you can't get out and play with your toys. So it's like, when do you do it, right? But I think she would really like it because she is so independent. Can we talk about adult sleep for a little bit? For a few minutes anyways?
Yes.
Like, I know lots of people struggle for themselves to go to sleep. Like, I don't know. I personally have never had a problem falling asleep. I
am a sleep master.
I just do my little routine and I hit the bed and I'm out, like out cold.
The only time I find I struggle is when I have like something happening the next day. Like I found through university, I had trouble sleeping, especially if I had like an exam the next day or like a deadline was coming up.
And you're worried you're going to miss it?
I'm worried I'm going to miss
a flight.
It. And then I'm almost like, see, I used to be bad with travel. I used to have the worst travel anxiety, way better now. I don't know what I did to grow out of that, but my travel anxiety was always like really weird for like no reason. I would just be like nervous about the airport in general. Like it wasn't the travel, it was like the process, like am I going to get to the airport on time? Am I going to have something in my luggage that like they don't, you know what I mean? Like
where did that gun come from?
Right. Like, and you know, and now like I know I'm over it because I had mustard in my carry-on and they confiscated my mustard. Ooh. And the security was like, oh, you can't have that. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like it's really good mustard. And I also just didn't realize that it would be considered a liquid. Like I just wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, no, we have to take that. And my biggest concern was, is it going to go to waste? Like, are you throwing it out?
Can I eat it really fast?
Like, are you going to eat it yourself? But they donated it to the local like fire hall.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, take my mustard.
Yeah, I'll donate.
For the firefighters. Sure.
Yeah.
I meant to do that. But yeah, so I would like have restless nights. Like I wouldn't sleep before travel, but that's gone away. Now still though, it's like a deadline, a test, something that's just kind of like a big
like a stressor in your life.
Yeah, it would be like I think stress inducing for any person.
Yeah.
But that's the nights that I struggle to sleep.
Yeah.
But typical nights, like I really enjoy rain sounds. Levi has always got like rain sounds or like rain hitting a tent, like that kind of.
Yeah.
And he finds like a 9-hour long YouTube video.
Okay.
Personally, I would let the whole 9 hours play. He just goes to the last hour so that it shuts off, because he says that if he plays a sound all night, it will wake him up in the middle of the night to hear the rain sound.
So I guess it depends on.
So his was kind of the opposite, but I mean,
Yeah.
he's not a baby, so obviously it's
Yeah.
not startling him. It's just kind of like, oh God, I forgot to turn
That's still
the
on.
rain sound.
Yeah.
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 So
It's like, oh, the TV is still on, or I forgot to turn something off.
yeah, but
I do
I
find,
wouldn't mind that sound all night. But
yeah, my sister, she always struggled with sleep. And then she started using a sound app, like a sound machine app, and she's been like slept a lot better because of it. Like, and then you can fine tune it and pick a sound. Like there's like dryer sounds and like a hair dryer. I don't know who would want to listen to a hair dryer all night, but I'm
where
sure
were you in your life that the hair dryer is soothing?
maybe you work at a hair salon or something, or maybe your mom was a hairstylist and worked at a hair salon and you napped there. I don't know. But there's options. So like I think that's like super helpful. And like bedtime routines, like Shauna was saying, like bedtime routines are important for kids, but I think they're also really important for adults, like just to like get your body used to that, like, okay, I'm gonna wash my face or I'm gonna brush my teeth, like just to unwind and then go to bed.
The decompression, so that you're not going to bed with like all the weight of like your whole day on you.
Yeah.
What's your bedtime routine?
Well, I used to have a really good one, but after Abby, now it's just like I pass out on the couch a lot of the time. So I need to be better and just go to bed earlier. But I'm also struggling with that because that's my me time to sleep on the couch.
Right.
Sleep on the couch.
Well, once she's asleep, you have a few hours, and that would be your me time. So
yeah, so I do like that. And like sometimes I don't always fall asleep, but it's just like even like getting your pajamas on, brushing your teeth, like I go around, turn off all the lights, check the door, like just those little things for me is like, oh, I know like everything's like all my senses are turned off. Like for me, that I guess that would be my bedtime routine: get my pajamas on, get into bed, check on her, and then I guess maybe that's my new routine, I guess, that I've never really realized. But before I was like wash my face and like I don't even remember because it's so long ago. But like it probably dragged out longer, but now it's just a lot shorter.
We do have a couple stories. Do you want to dive into those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to read? You to read yours first.
Me? Okay.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. You don't know this one.
I don't. No.
I like that I'm just like surprising you with these.
Do you know what? I think at the beginning we're like, we'll tell each other all the stories, and then no. Do you know what? It's better this way because
this is fun.
It's more fun. Yeah.
I don't even remember the one I sent you. So. All right. My daughter had the same blankie since she was a baby. Just a simple white muslin cloth. Is that how you say that?
Muslin.
I don't
know.
Muslin cloth. I say muslin because of like muesli bread. I
don't know what that is.
But okay. My foreign coming out. When she was almost a year old, it went missing. I must have thrown it in the wash, forgotten that it was there. I think it ended up in the trash because I was so torn up. It was so torn up. My boyfriend likes to toss things without asking. Anyways. No. She puts anyways. That night I had the hardest time putting her to bed, obviously. I grabbed another cloth and it didn't work. She wanted nothing to do with it. Let's just say the next few nights are rough and we're both still pretty upset with her dad. Haha. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Sorry, like, she's sleeping on the couch.
You threw out what?
Yeah. You better be going to go hunt a new one down, that exact one.
You go into the dump and finding the cloth. Like,
torn up or anything. Like,
no.
That's hard because like you want them to like be attached to something and have that lovey, but you also like, it's hard like if you only have the one. So like a lot of parents are like, if you find one, like get multiple. Like if they have a bunny or something, like buy 3. But like
does that work though? Will
sometimes depends on the child. but a lot of them it's okay, but it's like the feel of it, right? Like if she had tried a different blanket, that blanket's not going to feel like her blanket. Like that's not her blanket. The smell's wrong. I
I think
chewed
it's
on
a
it at the
lot to do with
corner.
like the smell and probably the texture of like
Yeah.
the rough
Yeah.
edges, or she probably had
Yeah.
like a rip in it or something.
Yes. Yep. The tag. I
Yeah.
had a dolly. I don't think I had her when I was like really little. I think it was more so like when I was like maybe 4 or 5. I'd have to ask. But I had a dolly. I still have her. Like she is torn to pieces. Like she's got like just a piece of fabric for her head. Like her whole head fluff is gone. My mom has sewn and re-sewn and re-stitched like pants. Like she made like new clothes because it was just so torn up. But I still have it. Like she kept it. But like I brought that thing everywhere. Like
Yeah.
that was like Dolly had to be in my bed with me. I have a story here too.
Okay.
This is the one you don't remember, but you will
Yeah, I
once I
don't
start
remember. I
reading it.
will. Yeah.
All right. We've been successful using a sound machine with each of my kids. They all like rain sounds, so just like Levi, or storm sounds, and it helps drown everything else out. I feel like it helps them focus on what they have to do, sleep. Started using this sound machine as soon as we moved them from their bassinets to their cribs. It's really helped with the routines and signals bedtimes for them too. I totally agree with that. It definitely signals bedtime and helps them sleep. I turn Abby's
Especially, yeah.
on for part of her routine too. Like I'll put it on, turn her lamp on, and then read books. So yeah.
I guess especially if you're turning it on like only at bedtime.
Yeah. Like it doesn't. You're not running
Like, do
it
you
all
use it
day.
during nap?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
But so anytime she goes to sleep, I use it. Just as like this is time to sleep now.
Yeah, gotcha.
And we'll turn it off.
Gotcha.
But yeah. No, I really like sound machines too, and I don't know if they had them so much more when we were younger, but like people used fans and stuff like that a lot more. I remember an old friend, she like even as a teenager, she would always bring a fan wherever she would sleep over. She's like, I need my fan. It's like, do you have a fan? Like that's like if she was staying at your house, she's like, do you have a fan? I'm not sleeping without one.
She'd turn a fan on. That's
Yeah, like
interesting.
yeah, like no matter where she went, she wasn't going if there was no fan.
Hmm.
But like so like that was her sleep aid, and like back then like I never thought of those things like a sleep helper, but totally. And like I think more so fans were normal and not so like commercial sound machines like you can get now at any store, so
Right,
or an
exactly.
app.
No, and like a fan too, that she probably maybe had like a ceiling fan going also,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that helps me sleep too. Like I do like that hum.
I used to talk in my sleep a lot when I was younger. I still probably do, but Brandon just sleeps so hard that I don't think he realizes. But I would sleepwalk every now and then too. Like, but for me, I know like I know what's going on in my head. Like I'm basically acting out my dream.
Right.
And I know that I'm like moving around and doing this, but I can't stop myself.
Gotcha.
So I remember them. So I don't know what this is called, but I remember them, but I just can't stop what I'm doing, and I'm like full out in my dream. So like for one instance, I don't remember exactly what I was doing, but I got up out of my bed, and this was back home, like I was maybe a teenager or something, or young teen, and I opened up my bedroom door because I had to get my blankets out into this spot, which was in the hallway. So I had
Right.
my blanket like rolled up in my arm. Then I like peered out my door, and my sister was like standing there, like what is going on? And then she like left, and then I like ran out, put my blanket in the hall, and like left. But then I like would go back to sleep and like wake up and be like, what is going on?
Like,
So
and
just like
where's my blanket?
yeah, where's my blanket? And I remember like standing over my parents' bed, them like being like, what are you doing? I'm like, I just need socks. Would give me
Oh.
some socks and just like leave. So like I can talk and like, and then I
Okay,
remember,
weird. So it's like you're wakeful sleep, kind
then I
of,
remember doing these things, and then they'll be like, you were doing that? I'm like, yeah. Because then I'm like, I don't know why,
but you
but
remember them.
yeah. Yeah. And then like at my
That's different.
grandparents one time they had a spare room for me and my sister that we shared. We each had our own single beds there. So we were sharing a room one day, and then I was just sitting up in the middle of the night at the end of the bed. My sister woke up, like just dark, like moonlight coming in through the curtains. Just me
So
sitting
creepy.
there, and then she just like wakes up like, "Are you awake?" And then I turn like, "Yeah, I'm awake."
Oh,
Like I'm
whoa, I
snappy,
would have
little
left
snap.
the
And then she's
room.
like, she's scared. Like she's like,
Yeah.
like how you were like,
I'd have been
no.
gone. Like my heart
Yeah.
was beating so fast. Like,
Yeah.
and I couldn't move. I was
Yeah.
frozen. It was
Yeah.
like,
That
I,
I think that's her too. Like, is she
yeah,
gonna kill me right now? Like,
yeah,
and then I would just lay back down.
right.
But then I'm like, yeah, I remember that. Like, then I act like, but yeah. So those are some of my.
Yeah. I think sleepwalking, it's terrifying. I think remembering it is something completely different. Like I would really love to know more about that because that's crazy.
Yeah, even well, I guess now too. Like sometimes I'll wake up and like have to be like searching. Like I'll be searching for Abby in my bed, but then I like come to and I realize, okay, like she's in her own bed, like stuff like that. Like I'm like physically moving.
Yeah. I just always wonder, like, kids absorb everything. Their brains are insane. Like they're growing and absorbing everything and learning. And so I don't remember like my dreams as a kid or like
Yeah.
what I experienced sleeping as a child, but just hearing like it's important to like not interrupt their sleep in the middle of the night with like sound and like hearing those things. It's kind of like, okay, so much must be going on because it sounds like the main concern is like, do not interrupt sleep,
Yeah.
like
A
get
sleep
a
cycle.
pattern, get a cycle going, like get a
Get
routine
routine.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so obviously sleep is extremely important and
Yeah.
it's going to affect how like their day goes, obviously too.
It
Like
affects how everyone's day goes.
that. Yeah. It's kind of like drinking water, right? Like you're drinking
Yeah.
water today, you're hydrating for tomorrow. So like tomorrow, if you're dehydrated, you can blame yesterday,
Yeah.
basically. So like it's kind of the same, sleep and drinking water and just all those basic things. And when I was younger, I used to just think like you're invincible. Like I don't need to sleep. I'll be up
I
all
think we
night,
all do.
whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like now, no, my sleep
No.
is precious. Like
Yeah.
no, you could not. I would not trade sleep for anything.
Yeah. Like, sorry, it's
Like
bedtime.
no,
Yeah.
it's my bedtime.
Yeah, I know.
Way more
I
important.
highly look forward to bedtime every day.
Yeah, every day.
Every day.
So we're coming on, like it's December 28th.
I know. The
Can you
new
believe
year.
it? Can you
The new
believe it?
year. I can't. I didn't think we'd make it. It felt like forever.
We're not gonna make it. I know
Did
that's
you?
not how that song goes,
But it's close enough.
but that's
It's for this
that's
year.
my version.
Yeah.
We're not gonna
We
make
made it. We made it though.
We did. Well, we have a few days.
Okay. Oh yeah. Knock on
But
wood.
the next time we get together, we'll be
Oh.
talking about things you do in the new year, like resolutions and goal setting. And so we'll have a bit to talk about. But I kind of want to wrap up with just telling everyone how to reach Shauna. So the sleep consultant that we had on, Shauna, at Sleepy Mountain Consulting. So you can find her on both Facebook and Instagram at that handle. So Sleepy Mountain Consulting. And that's Shauna, infant sleep consultant with healthy sleep solutions for all families. So you can send her a message, set something up if you need help with sleep in your house. Don't think that sleeping should come easy. It doesn't. And everyone
It's a skill.
It's a skill. Some people would beg to differ. But sleep, I guess you can approach it anyway. Yeah, sleep is natural. It's also something that you have to work for. So that's all from us.
Yes, we're signing off.
Find us through anchor.com. You can find all of our audio platforms. We're on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on, Pocket Cast, I can't. There's like a list of 5 or 6 we're available.
We'll put it on after.
It'll be on after. YouTube, of course. And if you want to submit anything, you can text 517-7055. You can email edsonparentcafe@gmail.com. You can message us on Instagram at Edson Parent Cafe, or on Facebook. You can find us through the community services page, Town of Edson Community Services.
We're everywhere.
Everywhere you want us to be. Just reach out, answer the polls we post or the questions on Instagram, interact with us. We love hearing from you. I love getting random texts from people I don't know about the relevant topics. And need I say more? Just
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Let's
enjoy
on 2021.
Here we come.
Here we come.